My problem is I have a temper, and at times I've found Japan the most frustrating place on earth. I'm not a person who likes to suffer fools. That's what we say in England, and I find really so many things frustrating about other people. You know, when other people are slow, faff around, waste time, or just generally inconsiderate to other people. And always, like in England, like I would just refuse to back down if I felt I'm in the right. Like, I don't care if it leads to me like getting filled in by like 20 people. Like, if I think I'm right, like I won't leave it alone. Obviously, you know, Japan is a calmer, like more peaceful place than modern day England is. And people here are less likely to resort to physical violence. Now, over the last 4 years living here, I've really had to learn to like tone down how I am. And in doing so, I learned what Logan always knew, that actions have consequences, and if you're too quick to act, you know, you'll suffer those consequences. Actions can be costly, and in the Logan film we see that that's what Wolverine's become. He's someone who knows this, changed from, you know, his younger, more rash self. I had like situations here of, you know, complete and utter disrespect that like I wouldn't have tolerated in England, but you have to tolerate here because things are different. You know, in England, if someone wrongs you and you're the person that backs down, you're a pussy. And things will just get worse and worse. But here in Japan, it's not like that. The person that loses the argument or the fight is the person who like acts more of a fool or is more aggressive and loses their cool. I had a colleague here and her English was phenomenal, like native tier, amazing. But her personality, So she lived in Scotland and she had a Scottish husband and they were divorced now. And they had a kid together. So I feel like immediately on meeting me, like she maybe saw some of him in me. Pause. She was always making snide comments and she progressed, became emboldened to making them in classes. And one day, in front of the students, she referred to my class as Adam's Engekibu, which means like Adam's theatre club, like, you know, suggesting it wasn't a real lesson. And at that point, I was like, nah, I can't tolerate this anymore. I'm gonna confront her. So I go up to her in the teacher's room. I say, what is your problem with me? She immediately becomes like so defensive, starts like panicking, like shouting so loud. They're not used to being confronted so directly here, and you know, they fall to bits when you do, you know. And this continued and continued, getting more and more panicky and louder and louder until everybody had stopped what they were doing and were just observing and listening. And the guy next to me, he also had like really good English, and I know he was on my side because he fully understood it. But to everyone else, like, I looked like the aggressor, and it looked like me that, you know, couldn't keep a stable workplace. So anyway, after that point, I feel like a few of the people at work saw me in a different way. You know, they didn't have any idea of like the background of it, that I'd, tolerated it for months. They just saw me as, someone who's aggressive and will confront them for anything. And I think a lot of people were like maybe like low-key afraid of me after that point. After maybe 6 months, a year, I was suffering from the worst culture shock. Like, the novelty had worn off and everything just annoyed me. And I went on a trip to Fukuoka, and there, like, things came to a head. There are lots of things people do here that annoy me. They do them in England too, but it's maybe more noticeable here. People will walk, along the path, like 4 or 5 abreast with like no regard for who's coming from the other side. I hate that. And, I will just shoulder barge people, and if they give me like any lip back, I'm happy to escalate things, but you can't really do that here unless you want to end up on a episode of Banged Up Abroad. And on this trip, I was just losing my rag all the time. Anyone approached me and didn't move out of the way, boom, just shoulder barging them. It's continuing on. Not because I'm a bully, but just because, like, I hate rudeness, and I don't think that should be tolerated. I'm not one of these Trudeau types. If you attack your enemies, they win. No. But I will say, if you let everything annoy you and get to you, all that happens, you spend your entire life angry. There will unfortunately always be rude, inconsiderate, pleb-like people, and you can't control them or their behavior. But what you can control is how you react to it. You can't be getting into fights all the time. It's not good for you, your mental health, and you end up in trouble. This is what Logan knows. He knows that you have to pick and choose, and only fight when you have no other choice. You don't have to fight everyone, and you can't let yourself be controlled by other people's behavior. That's what bottling your rage up can sometimes feel like. That you've got adamantium in your body that's slowly poisoning you. Oh well.